Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, The Journey to Justice. This video is an update on the Suzanne Morphew case as the investigators wrap their 3-day project that they had a tip on one of the neighbors' properties, which was about 10 to 12 miles away from their Salida home, which Barry had planted some dirt in a very big hole, and later on it was going to be cemented over, which happened. Now, the owner of the property said that he had known Barry for, say, I think 3 weeks when this was going on. And so they probably, we called him up. I got a job. He bidded on the job. He went and looked. He gave him a quote. And that's probably how he knows him. And then he asked him, how much is it going to cost me for labor and the dirt? And then he did the job. Apparently he had finished that job before the weekend, because as we know, he went away to Denver. Some people were saying that he left on Friday to Denver, but he was gone the weekend. So a weekend could be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But that's not really been confirmed yet, what he was doing there. But he was not on a training course for the fire department. That has been confirmed. Now, it's not to say that he could have done a course like the chief of the fire department said, but that doesn't look like the case. I think he was going there for some, apparently, working, making some bids, looking up some work, that kind of thing. But it's really not sure at this time what he was doing. But I'm sure the investigators are looking into that, have looked into that, and have confirmed what he was doing to be so. And they probably have questioned him for hours. We want to know where you were at every minute of the day. And if he called anybody, it's going to give a location where he was. So, that's all being confirmed. So, and we're not going to know about that because they're keeping things, that is to do with the investigation. Now, family members are speaking out, friends of the family, not so much family as in, close relations, but family like cousins or friends. Now, apparently, they're saying the kids didn't live at the house. Well, if they did or not, it doesn't really matter to me if they did or not. But the thing is, they went camping. Probably earlier in the week. And they went camping in supposedly Idaho. Now, obviously, they're saying, we don't know actually if that's confirmed yet, but like the daughter couldn't get hold of her mother on Mother's Day, all day, and became very worried and called the neighbor. But there was a few things, different stories going about the neighbor, and different people saying different. But apparently the daughter called and then she went and looked. We don't know exactly if she knocked on the door, it was in darkness, no answer, if she went alone, if she took her husband, if she had one, or she took her dogs. We don't know how she got there, on her own or anything like that. Um, she probably seen no sign, no activity, so she goes back home and calls the police. That's how that went. But the thing is, this missing case was reported, and the police acted very, 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 very fast. And we wonder why. Why did you act so fast and not wait? Well, because I do believe that she'd been missing longer than that, and she had not been heard from for over 24 hours. So I think that's why they went ahead and started a full-blown search. And because she was ill. I don't know how sick she was, because she had recovered, or she apparently has had cancer twice, and so she was still sick, if you know what I mean. And this is another reason why they acted so fast. It was a medical reason. And so that's all I can come up with a missing person case. It has to be some emergency. She was a cancer patient, and she was having some treatment, and she had a medical condition. So that is what makes me feel that they acted so fast. Because an adult woman going missing, they could say, well, they're allowed to go missing. We'll have to wait. But they didn't wait. So that's all I came up with. So that is probably the answer to that one. It's a medical. And they found her bike in, by a tree, by a bridge, by some water. It's kind of like that. And nobody's really given, like the sheriff really never said there was a bike found, where, when, and what time. But the nephew Trevor Noel did. He gave out that information, I think, to a reporter on Monday, the next day, the 11th. And this is where everybody got involved. Hey, there's a missing person. Get her name out, show her picture, show the poster, share. Well, some people, like I go back to the daughters not living there. I think one is like 21 years old. And we thought it was the 21-year-old living with the boyfriend, but apparently it's the 17-year-old living with the boyfriend. But that's not the biggest thing. I mean, if she is or if she isn't. It's just that you probably thought it was the older one, but the older one, they said something about going to school, going to college, university, something like that. And so they are saying that the 17-year-old doesn't live at home because, well, either they don't get on, or she doesn't like her home environment. It's not normal for a 17-year-old not to live at home unless there's a good reason. And so that is not normal. And so that's out there, but I don't know if it's really being confirmed, but that's another story out there. But if there was problems at home that she couldn't handle it anymore, it's stressing her out, or she maybe she doesn't live there because her mom was sick and her house had to be free of germs. I don't know. Something like that, because sometimes that happens when you've got cancer and you're having cancer treatment. Your house has to be kind of sterile. If anybody has been through any kind of treatment, such as cancer treatments, your house has to be sterile. And that means, like no animals, no cats, no dogs. So that might have been another scenario why she wasn't living there. Because of her mother's treatment, and having the home had to be, pretty sterile as much as possible. So I'm just putting it out there. That might be another scenario. That might be the case, as I've known that to happen in cancer patients having treatment or living at home and stuff like that. So that could be another reason why they are not at the house. But see, Barry might have not bringing his dirt home from work. Make sure he changes his clothes, in the closet, sterilize himself before he walks in the home, so you get little dust in the house as much as possible. That might be the scenario. But they say that she goes, close family say that her routine was to go for a bike ride on a Sunday morning before church, but people are saying the churches are not open. There's no gatherings in the church since this pandemic. Some say her bike is broken. If her bike is broken, because apparently she had said something to somebody that her brakes were locked up. This might be from where the brakes come from, the brakes being locked up. Because apparently they said she couldn't have been riding her bike because her bike was broken because her brakes was not working right. Now all this speculation about locked brakes, I didn't even understand it when they said locked brakes. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how her brakes got broken, if they are broken. I don't know. Maybe it got run over or something. I don't know why her brakes locked up. Maybe the bike was thrown on the ground. I don't know. But that could be another scenario why her bike was broken. And they said that she couldn't have been going for a bike ride. But then again, somebody were saying that her daughter was the one that had spoken to her and she said she was going for a bike ride. You see how this all gets twisted, the story gets told a different way. I mean, pass it on. It's like, Chinese whispers. You know that game? So anyway, those are the scenarios out there that were told. And also that the bike could have been just planted there. Now, a scenario that she went for a bike ride, she got to where she got by where her bike was found, just say. She got there, and maybe she stopped and talked to somebody that she knew. And this is why she put her bike, propped it up next to a tree. It wasn't thrown around. It was propped up. And she was talking to somebody. I don't know what they were asking her. Hey, you got directions? I'm a bit lost. Or she really knew them. Who could it have been? Because, if somebody's going to push you off the bike, just say they push you off the bike, or they hit you with their vehicle, and you fall off the bike, and then what are they going to do? Pick the damn bike up and kidnap you and chase you down and then to say, oh, wait a minute, let me prop that bike up and put it by the tree. No, they will quickly get it out the road. They will throw it in the river. They will throw it down the hill and hide it a little bit off the road. Do you think they would have time to do that? If they're kidnapping somebody that's trying to struggle, unless there's more than one person. Could there have been 2 or 3 people? This is the scenario if she did go bike riding and she was kidnapped. Because her bike wasn't very far from the home. So that's just saying she was just returning home, or she was just about to go on the bike ride. Because nobody knows what time it is, what time this happened, whether it happened in the morning, Sunday, at lunchtime, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows what time it happened unless they got some kind of surveillance and some eyewitness comes up with a time or with a video. You know, maybe they were going by and just happened to take a picture or something. Now, they're saying she'd been missing since Saturday. That was the last time anybody spoke to her. So she could have been missing on Saturday. If so, she's long gone. Long gone. There was the rumor out there, I don't even know if it's true, that Barry was talking to Suzanne at nighttime, Saturday nights. Now that's not been confirmed, but only they would know that. Only Barry would know that. Only phone records would know that. And that is with Suzanne's records and his. Because anybody can call a number and just let it go, you know? Just let it go. For how many minutes? So just because you call somebody doesn't mean you spoke to them. Now, if Suzanne's phone says she was talking to him, Barry, her husband, at the same time, and he's pinging there and she's pinging there, well, that's all good. Then that means she was alive Saturday night. But so far, if nothing's confirmed, she's been missing since Saturday, and maybe even Friday. Maybe Friday too, not sure. So it's all speculation and nothing's confirmed, and they're keeping a tight lip. Those sheriffs are, those investigators. And they've got over 200 and something tips, you know, each day more and more come. And like he says, no matter how small, no matter how bizarre it seems, like, hell, that's nothing, that's crazy. That could be the bit of information they're looking for. So if you've seen something you think, no way would they would be interested in that. Hey, if you're thinking it, then you need to call the tip line. It doesn't matter how small or silly it sounds. Just do it just in case. Call that number if you have any tips, just in case, because like they said, every little bit of information can get them a little further along and fill that little gap in. Or it might be, you could solve the case. You could solve the case. Now, right now, we don't know where she is, where she could have gone. Now, they searched the house, looking for a fight, a struggle, any blood, any, the house being messed up, out of place, anything missing, anything stolen. they said that her phone, she didn't take her phone with her. You like, how do you know that? Were you there? Well, the thing is, they said they found her phone at the house. And there's a lot of people that say they get shitty service there. But obviously some people get good service. So maybe it's where the spot you're at, or the phone company you got, or how much you paying for your service for some better signal. So, and then they said this was one of the items found along the roads 20 miles away. But these items, they said, were fine. Well, her bike was found close to the house, but the items they found, which they never said what they were. They never said what they were. They never said really how many items were found. Like, the way they were sounding, it's like a few items. And they said could be believed so. But that's all they said. They didn't confirm to be so, because they're being tight-lipped about it. And they don't want what they found to get out there, because it could be very important to a certain persons. Now, if it was a phone, I said it must have been something small. Some say it was her helmet, but if she wasn't bike riding, why would you throw the helmet out? Unless she was bike riding and her helmet was on her head and she happened to be able to throw it out the window fast. I'm just saying, could have happened. Because people were saying that she was killed in the home, but that's what they're saying. But it could have happened that way. I mean, we don't know. But just say she was alive and she was kidnapped, or she wasn't kidnapped, she was in a car that, either way, she probably was kidnapped against her will, going somewhere against her will. If she did have her helmet on, or her gloves, or biking gloves on, maybe she had a chance to throw it out the window. Whatever it might have been. I thought it could have been a piece of, I don't know, a tie to her hair. Some kind of tie to her hair. You tie your hair back. A bow, a ribbon. It could have been a bracelet. It could have been a necklace. It could have been something that she was able to toss out, and hopefully somebody would find it. I mean, it could be, so many things. Some people said it was some kind of sheet or blanket with some blood on. This is all speculation, and this is just rumors and theories. I mean, okay, it's 20 miles away. You definitely would have to be in a car 20 miles away, because she sure wasn't biking for 20 miles there and 20 miles back. I doubt if she biked that far, but you never know. But I don't know how good a shape she was in. Seems that she just had treatment for cancer and everything. 20 miles seems to be a bit much to be biking to. That's 20 miles there and 20 miles back. That'd be 40 miles, wouldn't it? I think that's a bit much. So I tend to rule out that she was ever there on her bike. So you have to be in a car. And if she ever took her car out that day, I doubt if she'd be throwing stuff out the window. No, because, why would she? Unless she was in somebody else's car, or unless that person that had her, or persons, because we don't know how many it is yet, just quickly got rid of some evidence. But normally, if a person's took somebody, I don't think they would, obviously they took Suzanne. So why are you going to get rid of her stuff along the roadside? You wouldn't be getting rid of it, would you? It stays right with you. So you can get rid of it or burn it or do something with it later on. I don't think you're going to toss it out. So I'm thinking, hell, maybe they did. Or maybe she did, if she was able to do so. Because I just don't know how. She's definitely not on a bike going 20 miles away. I mean, guys, come on. You go for a bike ride. I mean, they said she's fit, but she still is sick. I mean, she's just going to have that stem put in because of her cancer and everything. And so that was all about to happen. I don't think she'd stress herself out by going on a 40-mile bike ride. Even though her bike was found like 1 mile away. But I'm just saying earlier, like I said, she's gone bike 20 miles, she got a bike 20 miles back. No, that don't sound right. So it couldn't have been her on a bike. In fact, I think it's my theory, it's my opinion that she just didn't go on a bike ride. And apparently, we're all questioning the security system. You know, it's just been shut off, or it's been playing up, or it's been off for 4 days. But now apparently it's always not been working right, or it hasn't been working at all. Listen, if you're out in the wild, wild west here, amongst the forest and the wildlife, coyotes, mountain lions, maybe bears, I don't know what they got around there, but all kinds of wildlife. And, you know, and you're living in the boondocks, rural area. Listen, that house is $1.5 million. You better have some security system that works. You better. And you better get it working. And you better have it done, and I want it before I move in. You can afford a $1.5 million house plus, then you make sure that security's working. Because now, people out there, if your security's not working, get it fixed right now. Stop what you're doing, make that call tomorrow after, the holidays. Because there is nobody to hear you out there in that wild, wild west and amongst the woods, in the forest. We call it the forest because it is, but it's the woods, it's the forest. You're deep in the bush, and nobody's going to hear you because your neighbors are just far enough away. Far enough away. And nobody's going to hear you cry for help, scream. I'll tell you what, if I lived in that house, well, I wouldn't. But if I did, you better believe I would have my gun on me 24/7. It's no good having your gun up in your bedroom, or you're in bed and it's downstairs on the counter. You better have that gun holstered to you 24/7. Ooh, I just look at that house and those surroundings, I'm like, people that live in that neighborhood, that area, of course they're armed. Of course they are. Of course they got guns. They're avid hunters. They like the wilderness. They like hunting. A lot of people live in Colorado just for that. Like in Wisconsin, they like living up north in places like that where you can go hunting. They love it. Well, we all know that Barry hunts, and we all know that he has guns. I don't know what kind of guns he's got. A rifle, he's got a Glock. I don't know what kind of guns he's got, but he's definitely got a hunting gun. He's an avid hunter, loves hunting. And by the sounds of it, his daughter loves hunting. She likes the outdoors. She's an outdoorsy person. I think they all are outdoorsy. Now, why did they decide to move to Colorado? There was a reason why they left, Upton left, and hadn't sold their house before they left. Maybe it was the opportunity, came up. But what was the reason? Because he wanted to be a volunteer firefighter? Where you can be a volunteer firefighter anywhere. They're always in need. But no, that's probably not the reason. They left for a reason. Maybe that was their dream to move to Colorado. Maybe that wouldn't be my dream to move to Colorado, to a cold state, 4-season state. I mean, the mountains look good, but you can always go to the mountains at any time. But if that was if I was going to retire, I'm going to retire somewhere that's a little nicer, because they seem to like the sun. Most of their pictures, they got suntans. They like the sun. They like warm weather. They work outside. Well, Larry does. Barry, I mean. Barry works outside. So if you have it's more than a landscaping business that he has. I mean, he's been to school. Architect. It's all, there's a lot of schooling going into what he does. He's educated. Like we said, it's not just get on a tractor and cut the grass, or, cut your bushes a little bit. He gets into the whole planning. He does a little bit of everything. He can do everything. He's one of those guys. And he has a few people working for him. I don't know how many, but the one person that he does have working for him is a woman. I don't know how many women he has. I don't know exactly what her job was, neither. But apparently she had been in trouble. And because of all this going on, they've investigated all his employees. They want to know where you been, what was you doing, when did you see Barry last, what were you doing with him last. And so that's reason why this woman, and now she's being accused, of being one of the mistresses, one of them. But in our scenarios, we say, well, did he have a mistress? He could be cheating on his wife. But that was just a theory, an opinion that some people had, like I did. Could he have had one? It doesn't mean he had one. It's could he have had one? Because we're looking for a motive. What's the motive? Now we're looking for, but this woman denies everything. She's denying everything. That she, well, it sounds like she didn't fancy him that way. But she's saying, no, she's not. One thing led to another to another. People gossiping. But she says she has, what she was took in for had nothing to do with Barry. It was her own problems. But of course she was took in and questioned about what she knows about him. How long she known him, what she was doing, and all that. Now the other employees, whoever they are going to be questioned the same way. Now if it's men, are they going to say, hey, you having an affair? Are you having an affair? with Barry. Because they could be too, could be gay. Yeah, that'd be the next rumor. He could be coming out the closet. Yes, people come out the closet late in life. Not saying that's what's happened, just saying. That could be the next rumor. So just because she was a woman working an employee doesn't mean she's having an affair. But it might not be her, guys. It might be somebody completely different. But it doesn't matter because the police have his phone and they can get his phone records and they can trace who he's been calling, how often, where, everything. So the investigators got that information. You know they do, guys. They know already what phone calls he's been making to and how often. Could Suzanne have been having an affair? Well, you never know. I'm just saying. How do I know? But she could have been. And if she was, her phone records are going to be, and her whereabouts are going to be traced on her phone. What does she do? Who's she been talking to? They're going to contact those people who she been talking to. Could she have disappeared on her own accord? Yes, she could have. I don't know why she would. She's sick. She's getting treatment. She's had cancer twice. She's a survivor. A survivor. Only to be maybe murdered. Maybe. Maybe she's still alive, but either way, she's missing. If anybody's out there listening, this lady has survived cancer. She's a fighter. They say she's a beautiful lady. She's helps a lot of charities. She's a good citizen. And she's sick. And she's been through enough. And she's been through cancer. Her mother's dead. Her stepmother's dead, apparently, as well. She has a father that's still alive, but he's elderly. But she has survived cancer twice. Isn't that enough already? She's just going to start living her life with a little bit of peace, ease, She's just going to start a new life. This cancer's over, in remission, other than having to have tests, just to keep an eye on it and all whatever follow-up she has to do. But she's just going to start a new life, with or without her husband. If he has anything to do with it, the investigators already know. It's a matter of putting the puzzle together and getting all their ducks in a row. Sometimes it takes a long time for police to make an arrest. They can't go on a theory or assumptions. They have to have documentation and proof. Now, this could take months. It could take months, and sometimes it takes a year. And if by a miracle she's alive out there somewhere, please let her go. Let her go back home. She's had cancer. She's had a miserable time. She helps others. She's a nice person. She's good. She's kind. And if you have any tips or if you know where she is, if you're too scared to call, you can be anonymous. I stress to you, you can stay anonymous. Just make that call. And maybe you can save a life, because she still could be. She needs everybody's help. So that's just how the case is so far. And like I said, they finished the dig, that they were there for 3 days, but they have other places that they're going to, working on other tips. And while they were on the digging up the dirt and the concrete, because there were slabs of concrete, they had cut it up into squares, and it was pretty deep, and so was that hole. While they were digging up that place and sifting through the dirt, they could have been at another location. That this area was cordoned off, the roads were shut down. Unless you lived there, you could get through. The roads were shut down, but they could have been elsewhere. And they sent the news crew, everybody to that location, yet they could have been at another location. Because, you know, they like to be somewhere before all the news and the helicopters hang around. So, you know, they can divert you somewhere else. Think you'd, hey, was that for real? Yeah, but it was for real. Because you are not going to get permission from the owner to cut some concrete slabs and dig up the dirt for nothing, because that will cost you a lot of money. Now, who's paying for this? I don't know. Whose job is it to pay for the concrete? Had only just been laid on the Monday. And speaking of that, the dirt was laid days before it had finished, and it was waiting for the concrete to be laid on the Monday. And that was done way in advance. Now they're saying, well, whose job was it to lay the concrete? Well, I'm not sure if Barry was doing that also, or his crew, his employees, or it was another company laying the cement. Because, you know, that cement has to come up via a machine. It might have came ready made up to order, and then they dump it. Otherwise you would have to mix it yourself. That would take you all day to fill that. So I'm not sure how that was worked out, but it could have been another cement company that came and did that, because that would make sense, right? Yeah. But like I said, the owner only has known him for a few weeks. He'd only known him about 3 weeks. That's what he said when he was questioned. So not long at all. It's not like they're good buddies. But he wanted a job done. He either called Barry or Barry called him. One or the other. Or it's word of mouth. Hey, I know a guy. I know a guy. So that's done. Now the, you know, the Facebook group, Find Suzanne Morphew. Well, you know, the nephew of Barry, that it is, set up that there is a tip number on there that you press on it. It says call. Press on it and the number will come up if you cannot find it anywhere, and forget about it. It's on the Facebook page at the top right hand side. Now they're saying that Trevor Noah has gone dark, he's gone quiet. Well, yes, he has, because he said too much to begin with. You know, they have probably told them not to say another word, because apparently I don't think he should have said the bike was found and where it was found, what time it was found, what day it was found. You know, morning, noon, afternoon, evening, it doesn't matter. He shouldn't have said that. And then he made such a big deal about find out the state of the bike. Find out the state of the bike. You know, we took that as, oh, find out if it's run over or something, or the wheel, you know, is run over, or it's buckled, or the handlebars are broken. You know, we were thinking he meant something like that. I'm not sure what he's getting at. But he has, well, Barry has mirrored the words of his nephew. And you know, Barry's only spoken publicly one time for like 25 seconds. And he mirrored the words that his nephew said. No, I'm like, okay, you can have your own words, but they have the same words. They both want him back so bad. That's the words, so bad. If you listen to know his plea and listen to Barry's plea, you'll notice the same words. I just wish that, you know, somebody could make their own plea up, you know, because the nephew, you know, that's not his love of his life and married to her. So the husband should have maybe said something different to what the nephew said. He couldn't come, he had lots of days to think of something to say. Now, I just, you know, we're going to pick it, that video that he made. That's the problem when you get out on the news and you say anything. People are going to pick it apart. Now, there might not be much in there to pick apart, but actually there is. There's a lot in there. His mannerism, his nodding of the head. I mean, it might be something, it might not be. That might just be him. And people say that's just him. That's just the way he is. So it could be that's just the way he is. But we really didn't have much time to know if that's really the way he is, because he wasn't on TV long enough. Nodding of the head, and then the start of the plea was, "Oh, Suzanne." Like it's her fault. That's it. It kind of came across to me like that, like, "Oh, Suzanne," like, "Look what you made me do. Look what you gone and done. Oh, Suzanne." You know, you can read into that how you like, and you can come up with some scenarios on that one, like people coming up with, you know, the nodding of the head, which is weird. But the thing is, some people do that, I find, because I've watched a few videos on the case, and people that live in the area, and this woman was being questioned. I don't know if she was outside the restaurant or somewhere. She was doing the same thing when she was saying stuff, and she was nodding her head no when she was saying something to the fact that it was meant to be a good thing and a yes, and she was nodding her head no. So I'm thinking, maybe people do that. But I wouldn't, if I was nodding my head, it wouldn't be so noticeable. Now, when we talk, people use their hands, or they move their head a lot, or they pierce their eyes and don't move them because they're so focused. or they wear sunglasses. You know, there's lots of things that people wear when they're being interviewed. Now, if I was talking, you know, I don't nod my head and move my head much, but your head does move. That's right. That's normal. Your head does move, but it's not gonna be really left to right, left to right. A real like no, like no. It's like drawn out, you know, like no, no. Kind of was too much nodding, if you ask me. Not nodding, but shaking no to the head. No, no, no. When you were saying I love you, your head was saying no. We want you back so bad. Your head was going no. I mean, I don't know if he had too much sadness in his eyes or if he had hardness in his eyes. I don't know him. I couldn't. I'm like, it didn't seem to be too emotional, but other people said it was very emotional. Well, people that know him say it was very emotional. But that might have been emotional to them. But a lot of us, that's not very much emotion. Well, we don't know him, but it was not emotion. Not very much emotion. It was quick and it was swift and it was sweet and it was to the point. That was it. It was like you forced to do it. It wasn't even like you wanted to do it. It was you forced to do it. Because it's your duty to speak on behalf of your missing wife. That's what it's about. We always expect, if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that they speak out on your behalf and on your children's behalf. You couldn't even tell us what height she was. She got blue eyes, she got brown eyes, what color hair she got. Even though there's a poster, you can say she's petite, she's 5'4", she got blue eyes, she's got brown hair, she may have been wearing a helmet. This is the helmet. You know, show the photo and say this was what she could have looked like when she's out riding her bike. You know, give the public some scenarios, some different pictures, some different description. Why didn't you tell the public your wife is sick with cancer? Why didn't you tell her she's recovering from cancer and she's still having treatment? She's sick. Why didn't you tell the public that? You know, little things like that you want to get out there. Because this makes the public look even more, and it gets to their heartstrings even more. If you had made that plea, like maybe that way, it might have sounded a little bit better. Even though you might be innocent, but you kind of make yourself look a little guilty too. And that's allegedly, and that's just my opinion and a theory, in this case. You know, people that watch crime a lot, I mean, maybe Barry doesn't watch crime and Suzanne doesn't, they're not into that. There's many millions that don't watch crime because they can't, they feel sick. My daughter don't watch it. She can't. She can't. She starts crying. She can't handle it. She don't want to hear nothing about it. Except when you have Amber Alerts or something like that. She might, share. But that's about it. And you have to, like I said, a lot of people that do crime and follow crime and like to solve crimes from whichever way they try to solve it, like psychic, mediums, investigators, private investigators, sleuths, crime watchers, or anybody like that, or just people that just follow cases and spread the word. They watch you, and we've watched many people Many spouses, many boyfriends and girlfriends get on national TV, or get on their local TV, that is, and swear to God, and they cry, and their tears coming out of them, or they're not crying. And the ones that weren't crying, sometimes they're innocent, and the ones that are crying are the guilty ones. So you can never tell, but if you study them, and then after we find out the truth, either way, we're like, we study that, a lot of people study it, and say, oh wow, he looked as guilty as sin, yet he was truthful. Let's see what was the signs, and what could have been a distraction to them, that, you know, they're not very good at this stuff, or they just that personality, or whatever it might have been. Look at that woman that her little baby went missing a long time ago now, a few years ago. I think, I don't know where that was. Ohio, I think, somewhere out that way. That the father had custody or something, and she's living with the boyfriend at the mother's house, and it kind of looked like a wreck at the back of the yard, run down garage kind of thing, maybe a run down neighborhood. But anyway, the father came to get his 2 children, and he only picked up one, and she said something about, she was making excuses about the other girl, and then suddenly she says, you know, that she must have got out the door and ran off. Like, oh yeah, a little 1-year-old, 2-year-old. Oh yeah, she's gonna do that. Yeah, okay then. But eventually they found that, and the mother went on TV, and she was all upset. And they'd put that little dead little girl's body in a shoebox or whatever, something like that, and put them on a shelf in the garage. But like the detective said, I think they said that it wasn't there first time around, but only the second time around was it there. Oh yeah. And she's, you know, she's the mother. Her story was a little odd, and then it got odder. But maybe she was telling the truth, but it just seemed odd, and she didn't look very convincing after a while. It just didn't. And it turned out to be, I can't remember what happened, why she was dead. I think she was beaten. She had enough, and she wouldn't shut up, and she beat her. And then what she did was probably threw her in something and shut the bedroom door. But there's many cases like that out there, so guys. So that's just a little bit of update on the Suzanne and the rumors out there, and, you know, opinions. I don't know what else you've heard, guys, but there's no more news, and it's a holiday today, but it doesn't mean they're not working on the holiday, because I'm sure they are. Crime goes on every single day. There's people working every single day. But other than that, there's anything more to say. Other than she hasn't been found yet. She hasn't been located, alive or dead. She has not been found. And, you know, hopefully maybe tomorrow will be a different day. Maybe we might have some hope and some good news. Let's hope so. I hope so. I hope if she was kidnapped that they would let her go. The poor woman's been through enough. So nothing else is new, guys. So thank you guys for stopping by and listening to this video, and don't forget to sub to my channel if you like. Press that notification bell, thumbs up, and of course, it's free to sub to anybody's channel. That it's free. It doesn't cost anybody anything except your support by subbing and giving the thumbs up or down, whatever, and press that notification bell so you can be updated on Suzanne Morphew's case, every other case that's out there in the news and that I'm reporting on, making videos about, the lost, the missing, the found. There has been somebody found because the other day, Maddie Bell, because she chose to go missing, but nobody knew that. Nobody knew that at the beginning. But she has been found, and she has her reasons for running away. She was 18. She can do what she wants, but she has been found, and the police found her. It's probably not that she came forward like I thought she came forward, because she just couldn't handle it anymore and she run out of money or something. And you can run, but you can't hide, because where are you going? You have to change your name to run off and hide and don't want to be found. You have to have a plan. You have to have some money. You have to change your name. You have to get a new social security number, or you have to commit fraud and go under somebody else's social security number. There's a lot of work into running away, never to be found, on purpose. But you know what? If anybody's thinking about doing that, please don't. You can run away, but if you want to leave, please at least leave a note or contact your police department and let them know that you are fine and don't want to be found. Because if you're over 18, you're an adult and you can do what you want. Yes, you can. But please, if you are going to, and you see your name out there as missing, and your family or your cousins or your best friends have reported you missing, you're on national TV, you're all over the tube, please get in contact with the police and at least let them know that you are fine. And they will send somebody out to make sure you're fine, but they will not tell where you are. They don't have to, because you are an adult. But just remember that, because a lot of police time was wasted, a lot of resources, a lot of upset and tears, the not knowing that you put that, well, Maddie put them through, but anybody that's considering it, you will put people through. The heartache. Some people have heart attacks from it. They're in shock. They get sick, worried to death. Maybe some people don't care, but there's a lot of people out there. If you ever see your name splattered across the TV, just make that call and put it to rest. That's all you have to do. And you don't have to be found. That's all I'm saying. If you are in trouble, your home life is bad, and you don't know what to do, you're just going to run away. We've all probably thought about running away. I did it when I was a kid, and I ran away for a day, and I went all around the countryside and ended up back in the same spot. I've gone in the circle, and I kind of never did that again. But I'm just using that for instance. We've all kind of felt like running away. I was only young then, I didn't know any better. But if you're 18 or 17 and you wanna, if you're not happy in your life, try to get out of there somewhere and see if a relative will take you in for a little while. Because the courts or the police, they can help you. They can surely help you. And if you have somewhere else to go that's willing to take you in, tell the judge, and you tell him the reason why. And they will come up with something to help you, because you can tell them, hey, I'm not staying there, I'm going to run off. No, if somebody don't help me, I'm just going to be gone, and nobody's going to know where I am. And you end up going to be feeling that way, and you're going to do it. And it might be the biggest regret of your life. It might be. So anybody listening that is thinking of doing something like that, really think about it. And like, if you are age and you're fine and you're healthy and you see your face on TV, at least call the police department and let them know that you're fine and you don't want to be found. Just ease that and stop the looking. Then the police don't have to look, and they go on to the next case. That's simple as that. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the comments.